What is going on, guys? It is Livid Fray. Hope you guys are all doing very well today, and welcome back to another episode of Just the Good Stuff, where I show you only the good stuff from the vendor restocks each week. This week is actually pretty packed, so let's go ahead and get started. Starting off inside the terminal as we normally do. This week at the blueprint vendor, there is the MP7 blueprint actually in both locations this week, so if you go to the terminal or Cam Clinton, this blueprint will be available. The MP7 is very reliable. I do usually recommend the MP7 or the Navy MP5 or any of the MP5 variants if you don't have the house. We do also have the Navy MP5N blueprint. And ending here at the terminal, we have the red small grip available. This is going to help you get that maximum critical hit damage on your grip. And we do have the angled grip for sale here if that's something that you're interested in getting. And we're leaving the blueprint vendor now, heading over to the special equipment vendor. You guys may have watched the recent video that I posted of like the increased kill XP build that I was using with the tactician build. These knee pads are actually pretty close to what I'm using, so that's why I'm just highlighting these. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you buy these, but they are perfect for that build. And I'm kind of in the process of making that build video now. It's kind of on hold at the moment while the global event is active. But if you guys want to see that build, I actually have it posted in our community Discord. Under like the resources section, I have a channel just dedicated to my builds, and I do have that build posted there. So you can use these knee pads to make that build if that's something that you're interested in doing. We also have a stamina mod for sale here, 266 with 3% skill haste. These are very nice to have, especially if you're going for a skill haste alternative build for D3FNC. And finally, we have the 2% pulse critical hit chance mod. I always recommend these when they're for sale. I would say if you have enough of these, you probably don't need to buy any more. They are pretty niche. You're only going to really use them when you're solo. That's everything at the terminal. So now we're going to head over to the base of operations, specifically to the weapon equipment vendor. This vendor is selling an Omega rifle suppressor this week on 18% headshot with 2.5 stability and 4% critical hit damage. This one is really good. We also have a really good one for sale over at Cam Clinton. So let's go ahead and head over to Cam Clinton, and I'll show you guys the blueprints over there and what's for sale. All right, we've made it to Cam Clinton. So like I said, the MP7 is available inside both locations. We also have the 5.52 hollow sight blueprint for sale here. I think we had this last week as well. I just always recommend getting this one because it does let you get some pretty good critical hit chance on your assault rifles. And then again, if we head over to the special equipment vendor, we do have that Omega rifle suppressor. I would typically prefer this one over the other one because this one does have critical hit chance and damage, so you can use this to your advantage. However, if you would rather go with stability and critical hit damage, you can go with that one as well. Both muzzles are going to be 0.5% off on headshot damage, but they are still really high. We don't usually get the Omegas that are 18% that often. That's going to be everything from Cam Clinton, so now we're going to head to Dante's Run. The Dante's Run Safe House vendor has a 5% ballistic shield damage resilience mod. I personally prefer these mods over other mods when it comes to a D3FNZ build. Leaving Dante's Run and heading over to the Cavern, this vendor has a 260 firearms mod on 1% critical hit chance, perfect for the majority of PvP builds as well as some of your other PvE builds as well. Leaving the Cavern and heading over to the Ward, this vendor has two really good mods this week, one of them being 262 firearms mod on 3% skill haste. This is another one of those really versatile mods that you can make work on the majority of builds. And finally, we have a 211 electronics mod on 4% damage to elites. We just had a 4% damage to elites mod, so I can't even believe that we're getting another one so quickly. And it's actually better than the other one. I think the last one was 204, or it might have been 208. I can't remember. But we have a 211 this week, so this one actually tops all of the ones that I have across both accounts. I'm going to be removing all of my other ones and making sure that I stock up on these instead, so make sure you guys buy these while they are for sale. They are very rare. We do not get these very often. Okay, now we are going to be leaving the ward. We're heading into the dark zone, starting off with the DZ09 Saferoom. So I'm going to head over there and then I will meet you guys there. Alright, I've made it to the DZ09 Saferoom. This vendor has a really good small grip for sale at 19% critical hit damage, 4.5 reload speed, and 2% accuracy. These are perfect to be throwing on something like Deadeye, where you shouldn't really be having any kind of critical hit chance related to the build, so make sure you guys pick this up. We do also have something really good over at DZ04 Saferoom, so I'm going to head over there and then I'll meet you guys there. Alright, I've made it to the Dark Zone 4 Saferoom. This vendor has a 266 stamina mod on over 3,000 health. These are another one of those really versatile mods. They work really well actually with a 9k stamina striker for PvP. Considering the higher your health pool is, the more healing you're going to have in return from the striker's bonus, as well as things like sustained and predatory. So these work really well with any kind of build really that you're wanting to use them with. And we are heading down to Dark Zone 5th Avenue for our next location, so I'm going to head over there and then I'll meet you guys there. Alright, I have made it to DZ 5th Avenue. This vendor has a Relentless backpack that I would recommend. It already has skill power and ammo capacity. You can just change the main stat over to a good electronics roll and then you're good to go. And then we have this SR7 suppressor here. It's not the greatest, but it does work pretty well if you don't have anything like it yet. Has 1% off the max critical hit damage with critical hit chance and stability. You can make this work pretty well with predator Predator's Mark. Our next vendor is going to be DZ West 34th Street. This vendor has a 6% ally heal mod. I like to recommend these for any kind of support build, such as Tactician or Final Measure. And finally, our last vendor is going to be DZ West 53rd Street. This vendor has a classic AK-47 with Competent, Deadly, and Ferocious. There's a couple things that you can do with this actually. You can either roll off Competent for something along the lines of Vicious, and then this would work well with Predator's Mark, or you can roll off Deadly for something like Talented, and you can use this with a Tactician build. So this one is a pretty versatile AK. That's going to be everything for this week's vendor reset. Hopefully there's some items that are worth picking up this week for you guys. Considering even on my main account I was picking up some items this week, I think this reset was pretty solid. We don't get damage to elite mods very often that are worth having, and we actually got some really good weapon attachments as well. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed the reset. But if there was nothing this week, there is always next week. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day.
Can't believe the bullshit that went down in the dark zone at the end there.
I know. We had it. Everything I told them was dead on. They made us pull out anyway.
And we left our dead behind.
Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. Hang on a second.